So only one quiz for this chapter, but like I say, a lot of it's similar to stuff we did in chapter 1 using our calculator and stuff. Okay, so and the semester is getting on, so we got to get going. Dave has a 10% down payment. So how much is the bank financing as a percent? Anybody? Yeah, 90%, right? Of $210,000 house. In this part of the world, it doesn't buy you much. Okay? Might as well just get a used Ferrari. Live in that. His 25-year mortgage at 5.5%. Paid monthly English doesn't make any sense. Talking about a reading block. Okay. He's paid monthly. Now, do houses always go up in value? No. If you do renos. That could, as a guideline, every dollar you put into your house, you get about 50 cents back. Ooh. Okay, so let's say that increased the value of your home by 10,000 bucks. If the market goes down by 5%, that's all gone and more. So maybe is a good answer there. Okay, so in this case, his house depreciated by 3% per year. Yes, people, it can happen. And he sells it in 5 years. How much did it cost him to own over 5 years? Is it free to sell your house? You just put it on like Kijiji, and then someone comes up and gives you a check for, 200 grand. And you say, hey, there you go, bye-bye. It has been done, but I wouldn't recommend it. You normally use what kind of a person does this for a living? Realtor. You know how much they charge? Yeah. Now I'm just getting, actually, and this is a more accurate question than the one you're getting in the book, because they don't even talk about this. Typically it's 7% on the first 100,000 and 2.5 or 3% on the difference. On this house, that's pretty close. I'm just going to give you one number. It'd cost $10,000 to get rid of this house. That comes out of your pocket. You're the owner. Okay? That's divided between the selling realtor or the listing realtor and the realtor who buys the house for the client or customer. Okay? Yeah. 10 grand. In fees to sell it. Okay? And so what would be, if he didn't buy, he still got to live somewhere, then I guess he's renting. What would be the equivalent rent payment? It doesn't say that means monthly, right? Now again, my screen's only so big, so I've got to scroll up and down, unfortunately. But. Okay, what do we do? What do we know? What can we do with this? I know I just bought a house. I put $10,000 down. Well, Dave did. Okay, the bank's going to finance the rest. Okay, I don't have $210,000 in cash. Okay, so but I do have 10% down, which is $21,000. They're going to finance the difference, 90% of it. Okay, it's got to come from somewhere. Okay. Now this is a 25-year mortgage at this rate. Okay, it's paid monthly, but mortgages always compound semi-annually. Okay, my house value actually goes down by 3% per year. Doesn't sound like very much, 3%, big deal. I'm going to sell it and be gone in 5 years. Okay, so like I don't just still have a mortgage on a place I don't own, right? It's actually the bank who owns this house until you pay it off. They own it. When you sell it, that money doesn't go to you, it goes back to pay off the loan. But I've been paying it off, so maybe I've built up some equity in there, right? Okay, I pay it down. Let's say I paid off half of this. We've done questions like that. If everything stays the same, then I've paid off $105,000. Well, if I sell it for $210,000, well, I should get like that back, less some fees. I built up some equity there. That means that's money I have. That's like cash in my pocket. Okay, I can use it to buy another house. Maybe I can just travel to Europe for a few years. Whatever, right? Okay, so that's kind of like what's going on. So solve. What don't I know here though? Solve for, before I can find out anything, well, I need to know how much I'm paying a month. And if I know how long those payments go for, that's how much I put into this house. Then I'll figure out what it's worth in 5 years, okay? And try to see where I'm at. How much did it cost me? So, N. It's monthly. Okay, the mortgage is 25 years. To get my payment, that's what I'm using. That's my mortgage payment. And if you put 5 years there, well, I think you'll see there's got to be a mistake because it'll be huge, right? Not many people can pay off $210,000 in 5 years. Okay, interest, 5.5. Present value is the quick way, 210,000 times 90% of it, 0.9. Well, this is a 25-year mortgage. That means in 25 years, it'll be paid off. The future value is 0. Paid monthly, but read this carefully in the book because the question is not monthly. Okay, and mortgages are always compounded semi-annually. Okay, put in that stuff. Trying to find my payment. Times 0.9. Okay, all look good? What's my payment? How much a month for 25 years? $1,153.64. What was it? $53.64. Okay? So, that's what would happen if nothing else changes. And it usually does change. People move, they do other things, and the rate changes every 5 years, but we haven't even gotten into that. Okay, we're assuming it's going to stay the same for 25 years. Okay, that's my payment. Now, I'm paying that for 5 years. Okay, that I know for sure. 5 years, 12 times a year. How much is that? Well, check me if you can. I'll just write it down. Anybody else get that? Anybody else clicking? I could get that Mercedes cash if I'd have saved all that. Okay? Does that add up? Okay, so that's how much my payments were, but what else do I got to add here? What else did it cost me to live there for 5 years? Did I put something down? You bet. What's 10% of 210? Okay, so I put that down, right? That's what it cost me. Maybe I'll get it back, maybe I won't. We'll find out in a sec. Okay, and what else did it cost me? Well, if he's selling it, that's what it's going to cost you to get someone to sell it for you. Okay? You could try to do it privately. People do it, but there's risks involved. Some people lose their homes because they sign the wrong thing when they don't know what they're doing. And how are you going to market it? Put in all the ads and all the papers yourself? So, Dave paid $100,000, $218.40 to live in that house for 5 years. Okay? Now let's see if he gets some of that down payment back. What's it worth? Equity in the home. So I know what it was when I bought it, okay, but it's gone down 3% per year. So what is it worth in 5 years? Now you can do that one at a time, or if it's gone down 3%, that means each year, what's 100 minus 3%? 97%. That's what it's worth each year, okay? If that doesn't make sense, well then you're going to take 3% of 210,000, subtract it from 210,000, and that's what it's worth after 1 year. And then do that 5 times with your new balance, okay? But you remember back in the beginning, this is how we came up with the compounding formula, right? It's to the power of 5. Do that 5 times. And that is, in 5 years, it's down 30,000 bucks. 3% adds up when it's big chunks of money, right? You would want to have 1/1000th of 1% of the total money in the world. You know how much that would be? A lot. Okay? Well, I don't know. That's what it's worth in 5 years, yeah. Now, how much does he still owe on it? He's got to pay off that mortgage. Okay? That's a future value. After 5 years, well, do we still have all this stuff in our calculator? That's my payment. That's how much it was. Okay? In 5 years, or 60 payment periods, what is the value of this loan that I took out that we call a mortgage? I still owe $168,564. Okay? So I've only paid off, just quickly looking at that, in 5 years I borrowed $189,000. Now I still owe $168,000. Okay, I've only paid off what? $21,000? 20 and a half? Okay, whatever. That's what it is. Okay, 168,564. And I don't know if we need to worry about the cents so much, but let's just write it in. Okay? So, where am I going with this? This is what the house is worth. This is what I owe on it. So, you guys know if you sell something for more than what you owe, you're going to get the difference, right? Okay? Okay, so the equity, then, this is the word for it, right? What you have in the house, what it's worth to you, take the difference. And let's just round that, okay, to the nearest buck, because we're talking tens of thousands. What's the cents? 11,770. That's what I'm going to get when I sell that house, pay off the bank for the loan. Okay, I get 180. Okay, not taking this into account. I mean, I could have taken the 10,000 realty fees off of this. I'd only have 2,000 bucks, right? For living there for 5 years, paying it off because it went down in value a little bit each year. Not much. Okay, so what's the final price of what this thing cost me? That minus this. That's what it cost me. Okay? Isn't it fun though? This is real life, guys. Almost everybody will go through this. For the rest of your life, I'm recording this. I want to tell your mom to listen to it. Okay, that's what it cost him to own his own home for 5 years. That seem reasonable, or were you like, what were you expecting? I don't know. So should he have rented? What would rent have been?
Would that be divided by 5, like for each month?
Well, if you want to know month, well, okay, that's where we're going exactly with this question. What would be the equivalent rent payment? Okay? So what would it equal? If I was going to rent instead, what would be the payment? Okay? Well, so take that. And how many months would that be? It's for 5 years, right? So how many times does 60 go into that? That's an equivalent rent payment of $14.74 a month. And you know what? Well, that's how much you want to rent a whole house? Yeah, they cost that. Some of them cost $2,200 a month. How nice of a home do you think you need to live in? That's not uncommon. There's a paper right there. Go have a look at the rent payments. Sure. Just a basement suite will be $800 a month, guys. Okay? $100 a night. Yeah, easy. Okay, 200. What? Where are you staying? You want bed bugs?
$50 for a night.
No.
You said that's not nice.
Nice. No, you get nothing for that. They want $50. Are you kidding me? No. So that's the equivalent rent payment. Okay?
It's like a motel. When we're posting bed bugs.
Bed bugs.